Plush selling, P-L-U-S-H. The P stands for positioning, and there are two primary questions we want to ask and answer in positioning. The first one is, where are we going to be positioned? That's covered in another module, and it helps us understand who we're going to be talking to. The second question in positioning is, how are we going to be positioned in the client's organization? In this module, we're going to talk about how we want to be positioned in our client's organization. We're going to look at the 4 different positions that we can maintain in any given account and how to determine which of those 4 make sense and how to determine where we might be in those 4 positions right now. And then how can we improve our positioning with our customer? There are 4 positions that we can maintain with any given customer. The first one is sole provider, S-O-L-E, sole provider. When we are sole provider, the customer buys from us and no one else. There is no question about who they're going to buy from. They may only question what they are going to buy. If you have a preference in automobiles, then you will buy that manufacturer's products, but you may buy a different model. If you have a favorite restaurant, you may go there, but you may order a different entree. There's no question about who they're going to buy from. They're going to buy from you. The only question is, what are they going to buy? Well, of course, we would like to be sole provider in all of our accounts, or would we? If being sole provider means they're going to consume too much of our capacity, then perhaps it's not a good idea to have too many eggs in one basket. Sales professionals should not have to worry about that. As sales professionals, we should go out and get as much of the customer's business as we possibly can. However, at the executive level, it might make sense to say, well, let's tone that back. Let's be something other than sole provider. So how do you know you're sole provider in your key accounts? There are 2 tests that I use. Test number 1, who calls who? Who calls who? If you have to initiate every contact with your customer, you're probably not sole provider. They may be talking to your competitors in between your contacts. The second test is this. Has your customer ever asked you for something you don't sell? Yes, that's happened for most salespeople. See this not as silver, not as gold, but pure platinum. Here's what the customer is saying to you. I have to buy one of these. I don't currently have a vendor who supplies these. Of all the vendors I have, I would rather buy these from you than anyone else. Do you know how they're making that assessment? If you haven't asked them point blank, you probably don't have a clue. You think you do. Well, it's our quality, it's our friendly people, it's our delivery. Why don't we sit down with the customer and find out how they are choosing us to be an important vendor? Sole provider means they buy from us and no one else. And in most cases, that's where we want to be. The mindset that I use is there's no room in any of my accounts for any of my competitors. There's no room in any of my accounts for any of my competitors. So if a client asks me for sales training, yes, I can do that. If a client asks me for a book on sales training, yes, I can do that. If the customer asks me for a copier, you know, I know some really good copier providers. I'm very happy with the copier that I'm using. Let me have those people contact you. Do you see what happened? I'm still sole provider, but I don't sell copiers. When your customer is asking you for advice, what vendor do you use for A, B, and C? Recognize that as an indicator you are probably sole provider. That's where you want to be. As sole provider, the question we must ask and answer is this. Why is it in the customer's best interest they only buy from me? Why is it in the customer's best interest they only buy from me? Yes, I want to be sole provider, but you'll have customers who say we don't single source anything. We can't risk our business on a single vendor. That's a legitimate business statement. How do you overcome it? What will you have to go to the customer based on their objection to your being sole provider? The second position we can maintain is preferred provider. This means we get most of their business, but every once in a while they buy from somebody else. We get most of their business, but every once in a while they bring in one of our competitors' products or services. They will have legitimate business reasons for doing that. How do you overcome it? If they say we don't want a single source, then you can start looking at what is the cost of dual source or multiple source. What does it cost you, Mr. Customer, to have to process multiple invoices every month? What does it cost you to have to engage multiple salespeople, multiple vendors every month? What would it be worth to you if I could take all of that off of you? What would you use your time for? What would you use your energy for rather than entertaining me and my competitors? Why is it in your customer's best interest they move you up from preferred provider to sole provider? We want to earn that position. If we're not sole or preferred provider, we can be number 3, alternative provider. Alternative provider means the customer buys primarily from someone else, but every once in a while they give us a piece of business. And what kind of business do they give us? Typically the absolute worst. It's the business the preferred provider probably doesn't want. It may not be profitable, it may not be high volume, it may be more trouble than it's worth, but we think we are earning our way in, and that can be the role of the alternative provider. Which means if you're preferred provider, you want to watch the alternative providers because their goal is to swap places with you and make themselves preferred while you're the alternative provider. So if you're the alternative provider, how do you prove yourself in? How do you go to the next level? Be very careful. Customers will sometimes say, "This is your lucky day. We've been buying from one of your competitors, but I'm going to steer this opportunity to your organization. So what I'm going to need is a really good price, really good delivery date, other concessions, and this will be your opportunity to prove to us how good you are." Be very careful. If you give them some really low numbers, you are stuck with those numbers forever. We can't raise them, we're only going to lower them. Secondly, your customer may take your numbers to the preferred provider and go to them and say, "Look, this other company's out here, they've got these better numbers. Either you meet those numbers or we're going to have to go buy from them." And they may do that to you as a preferred provider. You have to be able to justify your price. Do not buy business. Make sure you only close business on value and not on price. If we're not sole provider, preferred provider, or alternative provider, we're probably former provider. And if at all possible, we would like to avoid that one. But here's the point. After every customer touch, a customer touch can be a sales call, a phone call, one of your trucks going down the highway, the sign on the outside of your building. After every customer touch, we have to stop and ask ourselves, what did we do to our positioning? We moved it. The only question is, which way did we move it? I've done things that I thought were going to move me up. They actually moved me down. I've done things that I thought were neutral. They wound up moving me up. So every time we do something to change, modify, improve a customer relationship, we need to be able to measure it and monitor it to make sure it's having the results that we would like. What are we doing to improve our relationships with our customers? Now we're back to CQI, continuous quality improvement. How do we continuously improve the quality of our relationship? How do we continuously improve our positioning with each of our customers? Improving a relationship requires a process. The sales process methodology, I.P.L.U.S.H, will help us do that, but start looking at a game plan. If you're not already sole provider, what is your plan to earn that position? If you are already sole provider, what is your plan? What is your process to protect that position? Positioning Where, positioning, how, both require pre-call planning. There is no substitute for pre-call planning. So in summary, we can be sole provider. We're getting all of their business. As sole provider, we need to protect that position. Why is your customer buying from you? What is their criteria? And has their criteria changed? And are you keeping up with it? If we are preferred provider, someone else is starting to eat into the account. We may be getting the lion's share of the business. We may think we're just fine, but in fact, we're losing some of our control over the account. If we're alternative provider, maybe the customer is giving us an opportunity to earn our way in, or maybe we're on our way out. And then there's former provider. How did we wind up losing this account? In the history of recorded time, no customer has ever said, "Your price is too high," and meant it. Teach others.